So welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a weird one because I don't actually know what we're going to be reviewing. It's in this laptop bag. I bought it off Facebook Marketplace for £10. I think I know the brand. Apart from that, I know nothing about this laptop. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let's see what's in here. Okay, so what do I know? I do know it's an Advent brand of a laptop. Advent, if you're from North America, you've probably never heard of that, but it's a brand that was owned by DSG, which is a Dixon sales group, which is the company that owns PC World, Dixon's, Curry's, and also now Carphone Warehouse. It's a very big retailer of electronics in the UK, and it's kind of their own brand. And I do have some other Advent computers. I actually have a very nice beige Advent tower that's a slot 1 BX based motherboard. That's a really nice computer. The other thing I bought just on a complete whim was an Advent laptop, and the reason I bought that was because I'd never owned a 17-inch laptop, and it was a 17-inch laptop. It's completely generic. It is very, very boring, but the one outstanding feature is it does have this massive 17-inch screen, which was just appealing to me at the time. And since then I've got a couple more 17-inch laptops, so it's less appealing now, but not currently made, sorry, not currently sold, but because they are from a non-computer manufacturer, they're mostly just rebranded off-the-shelf laptops from your Korean and Taiwanese manufacturers. When we look at this, there'll be an Advent brand on it, but if we look closely, I bet we can find an OEM manufacturer model number on here as well. Okay, let's open it up. I don't know if there's a power supply in here or anything. I haven't opened it up. Well, there you go. What's that? That looks like a possible USB wireless device. So that's interesting. WLAN 11G USB 2 adapter. So yeah, so 802.11.G wireless network card. First thing we find in the box. So not that useful, but only pay £10 for the whole thing, including the bag. So it's a nice freebie. What else have we got? That's empty. There is a pocket on the back. It's always a bit dubious putting your hands in bags. Nothing too horrible, so that's good. So let's open it up. See what we can find. Okay, so we do have a power supply and we have an Ethernet cable. So looking at the style of Ethernet cable, it's even got Ethernet written on it. I suspect that's the one that's come bundled with a router. So, oh yeah, a Virgin Media Category 6. So that suggests that this has been plugged into some broadband router at some point in the past. Let's try and untangle that.
2 hours later.
Okay, laptop power supply is a generic one. It's not a branded one. It's certainly not Advent. It's a Elysian International Enterprise Corp one. 19 volts at 3.42 amps. So pretty generic. What kind of connector has it got? Yeah, pretty generic. Standard barrel. So that will probably fit other laptops, and other laptop chargers will probably fit this. Now the first thing I'm noticing straight away is that this is actually slightly smaller than I was expecting. This looks like it might be a 13-inch laptop rather than a 15-inch laptop. So that's interesting. Let's get it out. There is some writing on a piece of paper underneath, so let me just attempt to get to that. Okay, so this has the a Windows XP Home Edition product key on it. It's also got the specs of the laptop, a support telephone number, and what looks like possibly a username and a password. So this person who owned this has obviously contacted Advent support at some point in the past. This paper's gone very kind of waxy. It's very weird. I'm not going to show you the details, but it's just kind of smudged and gone weird. So I don't know what's been stored on it or where it's been stored. And otherwise, a very generic laptop case for this very generic laptop. Is there anything in these pockets? No. Okay, having a look. It's got the Advent branding, which is the correct way up when the lid is opened. Top case is not quite piano black, but it's that kind of way. It's in pretty good condition actually. There's a few animal hairs on it. Let's have a look at the front first. So we've got a catch, which feels very, very weak. DVD read-write. Okay, that's good. And then a cover here, which might be for the hard drive, I'm guessing. Around this side, we've got an air vent, somebody's hair. Lovely. Kensington lock, power in. Round the back, we've got 4 USBs, audio in and out, combined keyboard and mouse PS2. Then we haven't got the parallel and serial ports, but we do have VGA out. Another air vent. And on this side, we've got a modem and Ethernet and another vent. Very visible screws around the edge of the screen. Makes me think this is not exactly a high-end build. What's on the bottom? So here we do have the bottom of the laptop, and it looks in pretty good condition. These rubber feet aren't particularly worn. There's not too many scratches, which is nice. We've got an air vent here. We've got a cover. We've got another cover here. Release for the battery, which is on the side. This dome's where the hard drive is, I suspect. We've got Windows XP Home Edition product key, and it's registered DSG Retail. Yeah, it's a Dixon Sales Group Retail Limited. It's an Advent. It's an Advent 7094. 14.1 inch TFT, Intel Celeron M 370 at 1.5 gigahertz. So this is a Pentium M era machine. 256 megabytes of RAM, 40 gigabyte hard drive, and DVD writer. Lithium ion and Windows XP. Okay, so that's got the entire spec on there. That's really handy. Server support numbers on here. It's not a free phone number. It's one of those chargeable by the minutes, which is probably one way they made a lot of their money. It says 321 series here. But overall, I'm impressed at how clean this is and what sort of good condition it's in. The label isn't flaking. Yeah, it's actually in pretty good condition on the outside. Let's open it up and have a look on the inside. Okay, so screen's a bit grubby, as you can probably tell from that camera angle, and some of the silver from this is rubbed off onto the screen housing, and now rubbed off onto my thumb. So we've got standard layout. Navigation keys are on the end and at the bottom here. We've got some indicator lights, speaker grills at the top, some shortcut buttons here for volume, power, internet and mail by the looks of it. Intel Celeron M inside and Windows XP, and it's got the specs here again. So we've got 14.1 inch TFT, 1024 by 768, integrated SIS 661GX graphics with up to 64 megs of shared memory, PC 2001 compliant AC97 audio, 40 gig hard drive, quite a small trackpad, but it's not very worn. This palm rest is actually in very good condition. So let's try turning it on. So plugged it into the mains. I've also put the VGA cable in just so we can get some video capture in case it actually does work. I've got a power indicator light has come on. Interestingly, it's not very visible from this angle. You can only really see it from straight on above. Budget design. So should we turn it on and see what happens? We've got an indicator light here, just flashed for the first time, which I'm assuming is a battery charging light. Let's turn it on and see what happens. I have a power indicator. I can hear something. So we have 2 beeps, and we have some text on the screen saying that CMOS battery is low and date and time are not set. Okay, let's go into the BIOS, see what happens. We've got a summary of what's going on. We've got an ID hard disk, which is Seagate, and we've got the DVD writer here. 224 megs of RAM because the shared memory with the graphics card. So that's run setup. So yeah, still not getting anything on the video capture. So let me reposition the camera so that you can see the laptop screen. Okay, so we've got a BIOS date of the 2nd of the 7th, 2006. So that gives us a rough idea of when this was made. We can also tell from the Pentium M era processor. 1.5 gigahertz, 225 megs of RAM, pretty standard spec for an early Windows XP machine. It's a 40 gig hard disk, so it's probably the original one that came from the factory. That means the original XP install might be on here. It also means the original XP recovery partition might be on here. Okay, so we can change the size of the memory that's shared between the graphics card and the main memory between 16 and 64 megas. Pretty standard stuff for integrated VGA. Boot devices, so it's going to boot off the optical drive first if there's anything in there, then the hard drive, and then the network. No security password, which is very handy. So let's see if we can get it to boot. Okay, we've got a boot flash Resuming Windows, okay. So this wasn't turned off, it was put into hibernation. Okay, Advent wallpaper, no password on this account. And the last thing they were doing is looking at Internet Explorer. Okay, so it does look like it's the default Advent install. Interestingly, the icons are arranged horizontally, not vertically on the desktop. This person thinks different, perhaps they should have bought an Apple. So what have we got here? We've got all default stuff. Okay, I've never seen this before, but the second monitor choice only lets us choose 8-bit color, which is very interesting. That must be a limitation of this SAS chipset. Maybe because we haven't allocated enough video memory.
Get more than just the internet with AOL.
Okay. Every random boot, we get the DSG demo. Not exactly sure what that does, apart from shows an advert for AOL.
Welcome to AOL.
It's an advert for
Keep
AOL.
listening to hear how AOL can transform the time you spend online.
Those speakers are really tinny.
No time or download.
Yeah, I think that's enough of AOL, thank you very much. But it's a sign of the times that AOL was the ISP of choice for this particular laptop. So back to the desktop. So yeah, interesting they're arranged horizontally. Let's see what's in programs. So we have the normal accessories. We have DivX. Okay. DivX converter and player. Games. Have normal games. Got a new folder in here. Is that an accident? Yes. We've got WinDVD and WinDVD Creator because we've got a DVD write-in drive. Into video WinRip. Okay, so can we rip DVDs? That's an interesting choice. Microsoft Works. Napster, that's also an interesting choice. Is this when Napster went legit? Doesn't look like it's been used before because it's asking us to select a directory. Okay, what else is in here? NTI backup. CD and DVD maker. Sound manager for the Realtek audio. Let's have a look at the rack. Nice. What a nice little theme there. Nice skin. That's the planets, obviously. You've got to love media players around this time. They did have some cool skins, including the Windows one. How do I exit? Is there an exit button? Does it save? Open folders. Is this exit or is this start? That's repeat. Add file, remove file, stop. How do I make you go away? I can't. Okay, we're just gonna do it that way. So we've got some SAS VGA utilities. Utility tray is basically it. It's not exactly a lot, but what's in the tray? System properties. Okay, so yeah, so this is the original OEM install of Windows XP. So we can look in Device Manager. Now we're here. SAS Mirage. That kind of rings a bell, but I'm not really familiar with that. SAS-based network adapter as well. Okay. All the drives are installed then. So coming back to here, display properties. Is that just going to take us to control panel, or is that going to do something more interesting? It's going to do nothing. Applications, uninstall, about, okay. I'd like some display properties. Yeah, it seems to be not quite working to plan. Okay, what else is in all programs? Startup. So we've got Acrobat Reader, Win Cinema Manager, Utility Tray, AOL Tray, and Wireless LAN USB dongle. Ah! So, so this obviously was being used with this computer. System recovery. Recovery Media Creator. Oh! Okay, so we've got the opportunity here to create a CD with the default Windows install for Advent on it. I think we should definitely make use of that and upload that for Prosperity, potentially. Microsoft Office PowerPoint Viewer, Microsoft Works. So you get internet protection with Norton, you get Microsoft Works, you get loads of add-ons from Intervideo, so you get DVD and Creator stuff, Napster, backup software, Norton Internet Security, all the good stuff. What's Firefly? Play Stronghold Online as an advert. And Real Player. Okay, so this is the default install. There's nothing exciting in here. Is there anything in the My Documents? Nothing here. Empty. Recycle bin, also empty. Okay, let's see if the optical drive works and see if there's anything in there. Well, it certainly works. That sprang open very quickly, but there's nothing in there. So let's create some recovery media for this computer. I think that'd be a great thing to do. So I've installed a disk in the drive. I wonder what it's going to do. Okay, so it's going to give us the options of putting a CD with Windows itself or using NTI CD Maker, which makes sense. But we're not going to do either of those things. We are going to go and find System Recovery Media Creator. It's already been created for the PC. You're not allowed to create another set. Oh, that's a shame. That is a shame. Okay, just trying to see if the ISOs that it created for the previous backup are available. So I had a look in the recovery partition, and you cannot access that from within Windows XP, it looks like. They've got some kind of software in there protecting it. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. What I'm wondering is if we recover this to its default state, whether that will then let us create some media. That'd be an interesting thing to try, wouldn't it? Particularly as there's no useful data on here. Let's have a look first, see if there is anything in a temporary file. Nope. Okay, so the drivers are all included on the hard drive, as is all the software. Running system recovery from your hard drive. So we can have a non-destructive system recovery. This recovers the factory shipped application drives the operating system without affecting any data files you have created. So that isn't a full wipe. We don't want to do that. We'll probably want to do a full wipe to see if we can get access to that media recovery tool. Right, looks like it requires 2 CDs to create the recovery media. Okay, so what I'm going to do is back up the system using a Acronis, image exactly what's on there already. That way, if we make a mistake during the recovery, we can always revert to this default setup. I'll back it up to my NAS, then we'll do the recovery, then we'll see if we can create the recovery media correctly. Okay, so it's going to take about 35 to 40 minutes because the remaining time estimate on this is always wrong by about a factor of 1. Okay, that has succeeded. So let's be back into Windows XP. Okay, so there's that logo again, PC Angel, not really familiar with that. Okay, so we can have a non-destructive system recovery, or we can have system recovery with a quick format. I think we should go for this one. We want to wipe everything. Let's just double check what the difference is. We want to preserve all our data, we want to wipe everything. I presume it means excluding the restore partition. Do I want to do system recovery? Yes, I do. I don't want to use Windows stuff. Yes, I do want to continue. So I'd be interested to see how long this takes. Copyright 2005 Soft Thinks, never heard of them. We're 1% of the way through already. So it's about 6% per minute, maybe even a little bit quicker than that. So yeah, so it's about 7% per minute, so 15 minutes in total to restore this system. Pretty quick. Okay, process has finished. It did take 15 minutes and 38 seconds. So I wonder what kind of Windows experience it's going to give us. Whether we're going to have to create a new account or whether there's a default account, that sort of thing. Let's find out. Aha. So it's basically dropped us into the standard Windows setup. Got the Advent logo up here in the top right corner though. Sound is working out the box, so that's good. So let's give it a name that reflects what it is. Keyboard's fully working, by the way, so that's all good. Am I connected to the computer? Absolutely no way. Not on an unguarded Windows XP. Well, would you look at that? The icons are vertical, not horizontal. That is weird, isn't it? And how much to get paid per unit for something like this from AOL? I suppose if your margins are small, you want to get the money wherever you can. Goodbye, AOL. Okay, we're not running at the native resolution of the screen, so let's deal with that, which is a bit odd. So we've got Service Pack 2. It says all the drivers are in order. So we should be able to just crack on and adjust the display. That's better. So that's one interesting little thing. Recycle bin, let's move that to the corner, my preferred location. Just go back to here. So yeah, XP Home Edition, Service Pack 2. So this has got a Celeron processor. It's a budget laptop. I'm not expecting this to have any kind of performance at all. Integrated graphics. But let's just put a couple of little things on there. And I'm thinking 3D Mark. So this is my standard set of benchmarks for older computers. Now this probably came out in 2004, 2005, I'm guessing, this computer. So 3D Mark 2001 is not going to be taxing by kind of the standards of the computer itself. Let's put CPU Z on there. We'll put some disk benchmarks on there too, and GPU Z. Okay, let's run 3D Mark 2000. See if we get anything. Okay, 3D Mark's 3473 in 3D Mark 2000. That's actually better than I was expecting. I wonder what 2001 will bring. So yeah, definitely struggling here. Only high teens frame rates at best, sometimes dropping to 10. So 3D Mark 2001 SE 1500. Not a great result, but that's pretty much what I would expect for this level of integrated graphics at this point in time. So what actually have we got? So we know we've got a Celeron M at 1.5 gigahertz. So that's, although it's a Celeron, it's going to be pretty speedy compared to, say, a Pentium 3 and even a Pentium 4 at the same clock. So yeah, that just confirms it, 1.5 gigs. So the OEM information is not filled in on the mainboard, but I do know who makes his laptop now. So in terms of memory, we've got slot 1, it's got 256 megs in there, and then slot 2 is empty, so there is opportunity to upgrade this, and it can run up to 166 megahertz, the memory. So this is DDR, obviously, SIS Mirage graphics. Overall rated the drive is good, 25 degrees, which is pretty decent, considering it's been on all afternoon. Got a 2 megabyte buffer over here. It's been on for a total of 127 hours. That's pretty low, actually, isn't it? I don't think this laptop's had a lot of use. Okay, here we have the results. 33 megabytes per second read and 32, nearly 33 write. That's actually pretty decent for a budget laptop, you know, drive. They're pretty awful normally, particularly if they're running at 4200 RPM or less. So one thing I want to try is to see whether the battery works. So it's been on charge pretty much all afternoon. Let's turn it on, see if anything happens. No. So battery is definitely dead as the dodo. This lid catch here, this has been bent. Oh, there you go. Managed to pull it back out. I thought that was going to be stuck. It's going to be a little bit more secure now when we close the laptop lid, so that's nice. So the 321 series is the clue to the OEM manufacturer. So in fact, this is made by ECS, and it is part of their 321 branded laptop that they repurpose for OEMs. So I've got some specs. So I know it's 2.6 kilos. It's certainly not light for a 14-inch laptop. In theory, it goes up to 5 hours of battery life with appropriate size battery and fully charged. Synaptics touchpad. Nothing else to report really. Got some dimensions. So it's 315 millimeters wide, 255 millimeters deep, and 38.5 millimeters deep. It is actually quite a chunky laptop. It's certainly not thin. I've got laptops that are roughly half this thickness from the same sort of times. So budget wise, you know, we've already looked at the back and it's got these two blanking plates where you could obviously specify serial and parallel ports if you need them, but with 4 USBs you probably don't need that. Build quality is average at best. Just, you know, it does actually feel pretty solid, the top. The finish is quite poor, so you can see the screws around the edge. Let's open up the bottom and see what's behind these covers. So first thing we'll do is remove this battery. It's a 2-step process like a lot of them. So you've got a lock, unlock button there, and then you've got this slider, and in this case it pops up. Battery's really light. I suspect this is a very budget, yeah, it's only 220 milliamp hour battery. I suspect that's half empty. There's probably 2 cells in there. I think you can get up to 8 cells according to the OEM spec, but that's a very light version of the battery. Under the battery, got some serial numbers, but otherwise nothing there to see. Pretty boring. Let's have a look under this middle cover. Best guess is this is going to be some RAM. Screw's not captive. So, yeah, so we have a single stick here that's visible. So in theory there's 2 RAM slots. What I'm thinking is the other one's probably underneath the keyboard. This probably is a 256 megs that we saw when we looked at CPU Z. So what have we got? We've got DDR333, 256 megs. Doesn't say who it's made by, but it's Hynix branded chips. Let's put that back in for now. Let's put the cover back on. Let's have a look under this cover here. My guess is this is access to the modem and a wireless module if there was one installed. I'm assuming there isn't one installed given that we had a USB wireless adapter in the laptop bag. Totally wrong. So what we have here is the heatsink and fan assembly. It is really clean in here. This laptop has not had much life at all. Now the interesting thing is that not only is this removable for obvious reasons, but it looks like we have a socket here. So it looks like the CPU is socketed. That means we can upgrade this laptop. And I do actually have some CPUs that could go in there. So that's interesting. We've got a Dixon branded serial number sticker here as well. What I can't see is a CMOS battery. Let's put that cover back on. So although I'm calling this a budget laptop, it's not paper thin and it's not super cheap. And considering it's 20 years old, give or take, it's doing all right. Okay, big dome here, I'm guessing is the hard drive. It's got 2 screws and then it looks like this panel comes off and then the drive will be underneath. I don't think it's an actual caddy. Yep, there we go. So there's a separate caddy here underneath with a little handle that holds the hard drive. So the hard drive is a Seagate Momentus 4200.2. So this is a second generation 4200 drive. As suspected, 4200 RPM, so not particularly speedy, but it was pretty reasonable in the benchmarks for a budget drive. It's in this quick release caddy by the looks of it. It doesn't look like there's any other screws. You just literally pull on this handle and it pops out. I'm not going to take it out, but let's see if we can get underneath the keyboard so that we can see if there's a second RAM slot. Interestingly, this is metal. So the optical bay doesn't look like it's modular. However, these often do just come out and there's usually a screw. It'll be one of these two, just the sort of offset onto the very back that lets you take them out. I'm guessing it's this one, but it is a guess. Not managed to pull the cover off, but I don't think I've managed to get the drive out. Maybe these two are holding it in as well. So is this drive going to come out? No, the cover just keeps wanting to come off. Don't worry, we're going to keep on taking the screws out anyway because we want to get to the keyboard if possible. There's no more screws obviously on the bottom. I hope they haven't put any underneath the labels. There's 2 covers here for screws. They might be what's holding the optical drive in, I suppose. It's unusual for them to be covered up, although you know it's not designed to be removed, this optical drive, so maybe not. I'm going to leave those for now. I'm going to flip it over and see if we can remove this keyboard at all. That still seems to be in place pretty well. Keyboard goes across the middle here, so maybe I should take off these covers again in case there's any hidden screws here. Nope, nothing under there. Let's take the hard drive out. So it looks like it just pulls forward. Yeah, so the far side screw of the cover also holds the drive in place, so once that's out, there's nothing to hold it in. But no additional screw holes. There's no obvious place to put a spudger in. Let's try the edge. So on a lot of Toshibas, early Toshibas, you pop a little plastic cover off here to access a further screw top of the keyboard, but I can't see that that is the case here. IBM keyboards slide and then pop off once you've taken the screws out. That's not happening here. I've come across keyboards where you have to take the keycaps off. There's a couple of Apples that do that. I don't really feel the need to do that. I accidentally took this one off with a spudger, but it's gone straight back on again. So this corner is definitely loose. This side less so. Not sure how to get this off. Still got the original plastic cover on the media buttons. We'll peel that off another time when we're feeling a bit down. I hope it's not one of those ones where you have to take the entire palm rest off. I'm definitely not doing that just to find out if their RAM is upgradable. Let's just do the whole gravity thing. It's definitely not coming out. I think there is more hidden screws that we don't know about. I think this panel here is part of the hinge cover, so I'm not going to take that off. I don't think you need to take that off to get to the keyboard. The keyboard, by the way, is not bad. It's got 3mm of travel. It's got a little bit of a little spring to it. It's a decent keyboard. It reminds me a lot of a Dell D600, both in the shape and the feel. It's not bad at all. Hang on a minute. Well, that's interesting. You can't see that from over there. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see this, but just along here there's two little tabs, and they actually retract when you move a sprudger along them. That seems overly engineered if that's how it is. Look, that's how you get the keyboard out. That's pretty nifty, and I suspect it's a little bit over engineered. I can't see where the other ones are. I'll have a look in a minute. Now we've got this end up, we should be able to get the others out. There's one here by the out graphics key, and then there's another one there by the down arrow, I think. There we go. Okay. So I'm guessing it comes forward a little bit. Yep. And the ribbon cable goes this way. Okay, ECS, interesting little bit of engineering there. So yeah, so the trick is to run a spudger down, press those in, and the keyboard just pops up a little bit. But we still can't get to anything useful. Oh, hang on. I think this heat shield's going to come out. This RF shield, I should say. Yep. Slides forward. We still haven't got anything. What we have got is some extra screws, so you basically need to take off the top part to get to anything else. Can we see anything through here? Nothing obvious. There's a 2-pin header here running up under here somewhere, so I'm guessing the CMOS battery is up here. Are we going to bother? Are we going to bother? ECS, I was really happy with you till you did that. I'm guessing this is the modem daughter card. Just here, there is loads of room under this bay, which is the other side of the hard drive. I do wonder if there was a kind of optional module that went in here, something in the front. There's nothing obvious on this moulding, but there is way too much room in there. Maybe you could upgrade the graphics. Do I really want to take this apart? So this screw's been glue gunned with some hot glue to make it vibration proof, but it's probably also part of the warranty validation. Okay, well this is supposed to be a quick video about this unknown laptop, and it's turning out to be a little bit more than that. Okay, so this is going to permanently have a dead CMOS battery, I'm afraid. There is no user service or CMOS battery, and to be honest, ECS and Advent probably didn't care about that, because they probably wanted to sell you a new one in 3 years' time when the battery went flat. But I've been impressed overall with the build quality. It's not bad. I'd be interested in trying to work out how much this would have cost when it was new. Let's put it back together though. So the fact this laptop hasn't had much use is a concern, because it means it obviously wasn't very useful. It wasn't very nice to use. People didn't use it. It could have been that they bought it and then the person it was bought for never used it. But yeah, it's a little bit suspicious that it's in such good quality for its age. So we do need to check that I haven't broken it while taking it apart. So let's put the power back on. Got a power light, so that's a good sign. Sounds like it's coming back to life. Yay! Okay, we haven't broken it. Although I said the keyboard's really nice, it is. This half-height enter key is a little bit annoying. A full-height one would have been preferable. I do not want to talk to you, but what I do want to do, what we forgot to do earlier on, to see if we can recreate the system recovery media. No. Okay, so somehow it knows we've already done that. A bit must be set somewhere randomly on the drive, or perhaps somewhere in the CMOS to indicate that. So that's a shame. So what do you think about this Advent 7094? Well, I'm not going to be using it every day, certainly not. It is, however, really representative of the time. I think it came out in 2006, 2005, something like that. It was already out of date when it came out, and you know, it's not very usable today. Having said that, you know, performance-wise, it was pretty nippy just around the desktop. I'm sure if we put some games on here, some, you know, Windows 98 era games on here, it would play just fine. Speakers are a little bit tinny. Keyboard's good though. Performance overall, the hard drive was pretty good. Could do with a RAM upgrade, and we can upgrade the CPU in this, which is interesting, isn't it? It's a 14-inch laptop, and the screen's not too bad. It's pretty bright. Viewing angles were reasonable. The resolution is only 1024 by 768, but actually for things like early XP and late Windows 98 games, that's actually a really good resolution. Battery's dead, so we can't use it as a laptop. It would have to be some kind of desk-bound device. I am going to keep it. Am I going to use it? Rarely. I think it's quite a nice kind of conversation piece, and it matches the other two Advents I've got in that, you know, it's very much of their time, and it shows how the company evolved and how the retail market in the UK has changed quite a lot over the years. It hasn't got a floppy drive, so I can't use it as a bridge machine. I use a Compaq Armada M300 for that. But it's just really nice to have, and for £10, I think that was a win. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned a little bit about Advents, and hopefully we'll be seeing more Advents in the future.